Every single day, the world's oceans are packed with ships, cargo vessels, cruise liners, and fishing boats, all moving smoothly across the water. If you check a live maritime tracker, you will see ships filling every major ocean, from the Pacific to the Atlantic, and even passing through mysterious places like the Bermuda Triangle. Despite the myths surrounding it, ships cross the Bermuda Triangle without any issue. But there is one place in the world's oceans that even the most experienced sailors avoid whenever they can: the Drake Passage. This dangerous stretch of water lies between South America's Cape Horn and Antarctica's South Shetland Islands. It may look like just another ocean route, but it is far from ordinary. Ships crossing through it face monster waves, hurricane-force winds, and unexpected currents that have claimed thousands of lives throughout history. Even today, with modern technology and advanced ship designs, the Drake Passage remains one of the most dangerous ocean crossings on Earth. In November 2022, the Viking Polaris, a 660-foot-long luxury cruise ship, was heading to Antarctica when an enormous wave suddenly struck it. This was not just any wave. It was a towering wall of water bigger than the ship itself. Windows shattered, the ship rocked violently, and within moments, 4 passengers were seriously injured, and 1 lost their life. This is not an isolated incident. Over the past 2 centuries, at least 683 lives have been lost in the Drake Passage, and the number of shipwrecks remains uncounted. But what makes the Drake Passage so deadly? Why do ships fear this route more than any other? The answer lies in a combination of geography, ocean currents, and extreme weather conditions. First, the location of the Drake Passage is unique. It is where 3 of the world's most powerful oceans meet: the Pacific, Atlantic, and Southern Oceans. This creates a chaotic mix of water that moves at extreme speeds. The Drake Passage is 900 kilometers, 560 miles wide, and its depth ranges from 11,000 to 15,000 feet. But what makes it even more dangerous is the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, ACC, the world's strongest ocean current. The ACC acts like a high-speed conveyor belt, moving more than 600 times the amount of water that flows through the Amazon River. This means that any storm, wave, or wind in this region becomes far more intense than anywhere else in the world. The Drake Passage is infamous for producing rogue waves, which are massive, unexpected waves that can rise up to 60 feet high or more. These waves are extremely dangerous because they appear suddenly, without warning, making it nearly impossible for ships to prepare. Even large cargo and cruise ships can be tossed around like toys in these violent waters, but the danger doesn't stop there. The weather in the Drake Passage is completely unpredictable. The sailors who have crossed it describe it in 2 ways: Drake Lake and Drake Shake. Sometimes the water is calm and smooth like a lake, but other times it becomes a violent, uncontrollable storm with towering waves and fierce winds. And the worst part? There is no land nearby to block the wind. That means the storms in this region keep getting stronger and stronger as they move across the ocean. The winds here are so powerful that they have their own names: the Roaring 40s, the Furious 50s, and the Screaming 60s, each referring to the wind speeds at different latitudes. Now, imagine trying to sail through this chaos. Even with modern navigation tools and advanced weather tracking, ships crossing the Drake Passage are still at the mercy of nature. And it's not just the weather that makes the Drake Passage deadly. The freezing water temperatures can be just as dangerous. If a person were to fall overboard, they would have only minutes to survive before hypothermia sets in. The water here is so cold that it remains in liquid form even at temperatures below freezing. But if this passage is so dangerous, why do ships even attempt to cross it? That's because the Drake Passage is the shortest route to Antarctica. Instead of taking a longer and safer route, many expedition ships, research vessels, and even cruise liners still choose to face the deadly challenge of the Drake Passage. But this isn't just about travel, it's about survival. Every ship that dares to cross the Drake Passage is in a battle against one of the wildest forces of nature on Earth. And sometimes, even the biggest and strongest ships don't make it through unharmed. But how did this deadly ocean route get its name? And what happened to the first sailors who tried to cross it? That's what we're about to uncover next. The Drake Passage gets its name from Sir Francis Drake, a famous English navigator and privateer from the 16th century. However, here's the surprising part. Drake never actually sailed through it. In 1577, Queen Elizabeth I of England sent Drake on an expedition to explore and disrupt Spanish trade routes in South America. His fleet of 5 ships set sail, aiming to pass through the Strait of Magellan, a narrow passage at the southern tip of South America. However, as his fleet approached the region, a massive storm struck, scattering his ships. One ship vanished without a trace, another turned back to England, and Drake himself was pushed far south into the open ocean. This accidental detour led him to an open stretch of water, the Drake Passage, though he never actually sailed through it. Instead, he reported its existence, suggesting that there was a potential route around South America, rather than through the dangerous and narrow Strait of Magellan. Despite being named after him, but why would sailors even attempt to cross the Drake Passage when they knew how dangerous it was? The answer lies in the global trade routes of the past. Before the Panama Canal was built in 1914, ships traveling between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans had 2 choices: either take the long route around Africa or risk the Drake Passage. And many chose the Drake Passage despite the risks. In the age of sail, when wooden ships depended entirely on the wind, the passage became a graveyard for countless vessels. Historians estimate that over 800 ships have sunk in the Drake Passage, with around 20,000 sailors losing their lives in its unforgiving waters. Some of these shipwrecks still lie at the bottom of the ocean, hidden beneath freezing, pitch-black depths. But what makes the Drake Passage so much worse than any other ocean route? The waves in the Drake Passage can reach over 60 feet high, making them as tall as a 5-story building. Imagine trying to steer a ship through a storm where the wind is howling at over 80 miles per hour. The waves are crashing from every direction, and the ocean currents are pulling you wherever they want. That's the Drake Passage experience. And if that wasn't enough, there's another silent killer: the freezing temperatures. The water here can drop below freezing, yet it remains liquid due to its high salt content. It's one of the only places on Earth where the ocean is colder than ice. Despite all these dangers, thousands of ships still attempt to cross the Drake Passage every year. Some are massive cargo ships, transporting goods between continents. Others are tourist expedition ships, carrying passengers to Antarctica for the adventure of a lifetime. But no matter how advanced the technology, every ship that enters the Drake Passage is rolling the dice with nature. And sometimes, nature wins.